Today, we're going to take notes on scatter plots. This is brand new information for you. Here is our I can statement. I can construct and interpret scatter plots. Okay, that's a great I can statement, but it doesn't really help us if we don't know what a scatter plot is. If you look right here, that is a scatter plot. In words, let's describe it though. A scatter plot shows relationship between two sets of data. So if you look at our scatter plot over here, it shows the relationship between years of education completed and how much money you make. So, a scatter plot is just dots. So again, a scatter plot is discrete. Let's make sure you're writing this down as I go along. You know, if I happen to go too fast, you can always pause it. So a scatter plot is just dots, and it's also an ordered pair when you graph it. It's your X, Y coordinate. The scatter plot shows education and income data. How many years of education does the person who earns $100,000 have? So really all we are doing is reading the graph. So you're over at, if the annual income is in thousands, so this 100 right here is your 100,000. If you go across, here is a dot right here. That is the $100,000 income, and it has taken 16 years to complete. So on your notes, you should mark 16 years. The next question says, describe the person represented by point A in the example. Here is point A. So really what we want, the way to describe it, is to describe it in terms of your X and Y. What is happening for your X value and your Y value? What is happening is that point A, somebody has 12 years education and they earn $20,000 a year. So one more time. Point A, your X value is 12 years of education and they earn $20,000. The next question asks about point B. Okay, you should be able to answer that. At point B, that person has 14 years of education. And typically that means if they have 14 years of education, they make $90,000 a year. And I guess I shouldn't say typically, because this isn't an average or anything. This is just, I guess, a survey of people. How many years did you go to school, and what is your income now? This person went to school for 14 years. They're making 90 grand. The next question, how many people have exactly 12 years of education? So go back over to your graph and look at the 12 years. All of these points have 12 years of education. How many people is that? It's 4 people. So what we have done so far is we have been able to interpret a scatter plot. Now we are going to classify scatter plots. The first type of scatter plot that you can see all of these points kind of look like they're going upwards. That would be what we call a positive correlation. What that means is both your X and Y are increasing. So as you go over to the right, XYs, as you go over this way, your Y values get higher and higher and higher. So if they're going this direction as a trend, that means they have a positive correlation. Okay, well, let's make a guess here. If this is a positive correlation, what trend do you think, or what classification do you think this one has? It is a negative correlation. So as one of your values is increasing, the other is decreasing. So as we head to the right on our X value, our Y values are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So far we have positive correlation, negative correlation, and then our last one is kind of all over the place. Our last one is no correlation. We cannot find a trend. There is no relationship between our X and Y values. As we head over to the right, nothing is happening in an upwards fashion or a downwards fashion. Let's take a quick look at our graph with learn and earn. What kind of correlation do you think is happening with learn or earn? Is it positive? Is it negative? Or is it no? The learn and earn scatter plot has a positive correlation. As you head over to the right, the more years of education you complete, the higher the income tends to be. Go ahead and flip your paper to the back. So our first I can statement was to interpret scatter plots. We did a nice job of that. Our second is to create. So we are going to Use the table to make a scatter plot of the latitude and temperature. And in fact, we're going to make 2 scatter plots. If you look below, we have 2 scatter plots kind of started. Our x value of both scatter plots is going to be location. So this is going to be your x value. And we're going to make 2 scatter plots. One where it's going to be the daily average or mean temperature, and one is going to be precipitation, so rainfall. So we're going to see if there is a relationship of location and what temperature it is. So we're going to start off, and we are going to plot all of these cities. We're going to start off with Atlanta, Georgia, and it is 3461. So I know there aren't exact lines on this graph, but we're going to do our best to kind of eyeball it. So 34 is in between 30 and 40, and then 61. So over 34, up about 61 is right about there. Boston is about 42-51. Chicago is again 42, but this time 49. Duluth, Minnesota is 47, 39. Honolulu, Hawaii is 2177. They're not exactly perfect, but we're getting them in the general space. Houston, Texas is 3068. Juneau, Alaska is 5841. Miami is 2676. Oh, there. Phoenix is 3373. Portland, Maine, not Oregon, Maine, is 4445. San Diego is 3364, kind of here. And then Wichita is 3856. So those aren't perfect, but certainly you see a trend. Is there a positive correlation, a negative correlation, or no correlation at all? In fact, there is a negative correlation, which means there is a relationship of where a city is located and their daily average temperature. That should make sense. If you're in, for instance, Honolulu, you're expecting it to be warmer. Same with Phoenix. If you're in Boston, it's more north than those other towns are, so you would expect it to be colder. Okay, we're going to go ahead and graph the second one for the sake of me making this a little bit larger and easier to see. You can't see the table on my video, but you can see the table on your notes. So we are going to start with Atlanta. Atlanta is about, again, 34, and then the annual precipitation, which is rainfall, any wetness that comes from the sky, is about 51. So over 34, up about 51. Boston is 42. 42. Chicago is 42, but it's 36. Duluth is 47, 30. Honolulu is 21, 22. Alaska is 58, 54. Miami is 26. What? 56. Phoenix is 33, 8. Portland, Maine is 44, 44. San Diego is 33, 10. And Wichita is 38, what? 29. So if we are looking at this scatter plot, we have all of the cities with their latitude and precipitation graphed. What type of correlation would you say that there is between latitude and precipitation? There is no correlation. So what that means is that there is no relationship between where a city is and how much rainfall it gets. At this point, what I need you to do is I need you to ask for your homework. For the rest of class, you're going to work on the homework. When you're done with that, you need to go to Google Calendar and do the online activity. Thank you for taking good notes. Tomorrow we will continue on scatter plots.